And thanks for joining us here at ABC4 News at 4 o'clock. I'm Emily Flores.
And I'm Courtney Johns. We are beginning with breaking news out of Davis County. Former West Bountiful Mayor Carl Johnson is facing 7 charges of child sex abuse. The sheriff's office says they have spoken with 3 victims, saying the abuse dates back as far as 1985. Deputies say he used his position of trust as mayor and bishop of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to keep his victims quiet. Authorities say they are sharing this information in part because they believe there could be more victims.
We just want victims to feel comfortable to know that if they come forward, we're going to listen to them, we're going to hear what they have to say, and we're going to pursue justice for those victims.
The 77-year-old was booked into the Davis County Jail yesterday. Now, this is a developing story, and we will have the latest details both on air and online at ABC4.com.
And in other breaking news, the Utah Democratic Party filing a lawsuit to remove a Republican candidate from the November ballot. Now, Joel Ferry is the executive director of the Department of Natural Resources, but he's also still on the ballot for a seat in the Utah House. The Utah Democratic Party is saying it's against the state constitution for him to do both. The party asked Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson to disqualify Ferry from the ballot, but she declined, saying there was no legal basis to remove him. And we turn now to news out of the United Kingdom this afternoon. Queen Elizabeth II, the country's longest ruling head of state, has died at the age of 96. Word came out this morning that the Queen was under medical supervision at home with family gathering at her bedside. Even now, hours after the announcement of her passing, Britons are gathered in the streets outside of Buckingham Palace in mourning and remembrance of her time on the throne. ABC's Rena Roy taking a look back on the Queen's historic decades-long reign.
Queen Elizabeth II, head of state reigning over the United Kingdom since 1952.
My lords, pray be seated.
Born Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor on April 21, 1926. Lilibet, as she was known to her close family, was never expected to be queen. All that changed in 1936 when her father unexpectedly became King George VI after his older brother's abdication, leaving the 10-year-old Princess Elizabeth next in line to the throne. She won public admiration by doing her part during World War II, training as a truck driver and a mechanic, and on her 21st birthday, Elizabeth taking on the mantle of public service.
That my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and to the service of our great imperial family.
She lifted a gloomy country's spirits when she married the dashing Navy officer Philip Mountbatten. And just a few years after the war, becoming a mother for the first time. Prince Charles, born in 1948, the first of their 4 children and first in line to the throne. After battling an illness, her father died when she was abroad in Kenya in 1952. The 25-year-old princess was now queen. Her coronation, the first to be televised from Westminster Abbey, was watched by millions around the world. She worked with 15 prime ministers, starting with Sir Winston Churchill, and met with 13 American presidents, including President Biden. But there were low moments among the highs.
It has turned out to be an annus horribilis.
In 1992, Elizabeth faced a particularly troublesome year, which brought the collapse of 3 of her children's marriages and a devastating fire at her home in Windsor Castle. In 1997, the death of Princess Diana in a car crash in Paris, a public backlash after it took the Queen several days to publicly mourn and pay tribute to her former daughter-in-law. And in more recent times, her son Prince Andrew embroiled in a sex scandal rocking the monarchy to its foundation. And the royal family's turbulent relationship with Prince Harry's wife, Meghan Markle. But through it all, the Queen remaining the steady center of her growing family. And always supported by Prince Philip, her husband of 73 years until his death in April of 2021. Queen Elizabeth managed to reign in a modern world without compromising tradition. To Great Britain, she dies the longest reigning British sovereign in history, a symbol of steadfastness in an age of unprecedented change. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
The impact of the Queen's death is being felt around the world, with leaders here in Utah now weighing in on her legacy and sharing their condolences. Utah Governor Spencer Cox took to Twitter, writing, quote, "For more than 70 years, Queen Elizabeth II served her people with strength, grace, and unwavering dedication. She will be missed. Our prayers go out to the royal family and the people of the Commonwealth. Meanwhile, Representative Chris Stewart saying, quote, "The passing of Queen Elizabeth II is not just a watershed moment for Britain, but one for the entire world. She served as a beacon of hope and stability throughout her 70-year reign, and her legacy will never be forgotten. My prayers are with the Queen's family, and I join everyone around the world in mourning this revered leader." We'll have more on local reaction on ABC4 News at 5.
All right, and back here at home, local tomato farmers seeing dwindling crops and low yields due to multiple issues with their growth this season. ABC4's Ali O'Rulian in Santa Quinn on one of those farms. And Ali, you talked to farmers and experts about the issue. What's going wrong?
Farmers say that this year has been one unlike any other. Take, for example, all of these tomato plants you see around me. They've had to be replanted because of viruses, diseases, and especially this high heat. Experts and farmers say that Mother Nature this year had such sporadic conditions that has led to an extremely low crop yield. According to experts and farmers, there's 3 key factors into why farmers are losing so many tomatoes. High winds in the springs cause pests to blow onto tomatoes, bringing the curly top virus, sucking out all the life in these crops. Heavy rains in June caused roots to rot, and these high heats kill off flower buds before they can even become tomatoes. And the heat causes tomatoes that have started growing to delay ripeness until it's cooler. Chris Riley of Riley's U-Pig Farm saying instead of producing their typical 3,000 boxes of tomatoes, they've produced 100, expecting hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue loss. This harvest being especially hard on crops.
This year is, I think, safe to say about a year like we've never seen before, you know, and just when you think you've kind of figured some things out, then something else comes along that you've never experienced, and you learn a few more hard lessons.
And though farmers say that this year has been extremely difficult, they're hopeful for next year. I'll have more on this story at 5. Reporting in Santa Quinn, I'm Ali O'Rulian, ABC4 News.
All right, thank you, Ali. And now we're checking in with ABC4's pinpoint weather forecast with meteorologist Thomas Gieboy.
A lot of consequence to that stretch of such high heat, Thomas.
I mean, it's just absurd to think about some of the temperatures. We'll show you in just a moment, but do want to start off with the good news because relief is finally working its way in. That blue thing that you see right there, we haven't seen that very often, especially recently. That's a cold front. I would call it more of a cool front, but this will help usher in temperatures closer to seasonal averages, especially by Friday into and past this upcoming weekend. There are a decent amount of showers and thunderstorms in southern Utah and a few spotty showers in northern Utah. There's just enough moisture for that front to work with. Right now we're sitting at 97 degrees in Salt Lake City. That's hot for this time of year, but it feels so much better compared to what we were seeing at this time yesterday. Still hot down in southern Utah, 93 in Cedar City, 103 in St. George, but at least if you're in southern Utah, you got a decent chance of finding some wet weather through the rest of this afternoon. But here are a look at some of those absurd numbers that I was talking about. So far in Salt Lake City, the average high, 103.3. Typically, on average, it's around 85 to 86 degrees. And when you compare and contrast that to what we saw in August, it's like a flip-flop, but even still, an average high of 103 for the first 7 days of September. That's just not what we're supposed to see for this time of year. So if you're going to take your dog for a walk, still definitely too warm to do it with temperatures in the upper 90s. So Lola's kind of have the right idea here, maybe taking a quick nap, but an absolutely precious puppy. By 7 o'clock, temperatures will start to fall through the 90s. And as mentioned, we're going to have more seasonal temperatures on the way for our Friday, but your entire forecast is coming up in just a few minutes. Courtney, Emily?
All right, thank you, Thomas. A Weber County mother of 2 is fighting for her life after being hit by a car while riding her bike. Her family and friends are rallying by her side and hoping for the best. ABC4's Northern Utah correspondent Cade Garner has that story.
911, what is the address of your emergency?
A phone call no one should ever receive.
My heart dropped. I felt sick to my stomach and an initial shock.
Alyssa Castillo learned her sister Antoinette had been hit by a car while riding a bike in West Haven Sunday night.
She's stable and she's making small improvements, which are wins for us.
Castillo says her sister is heavily sedated and suffering severe brain trauma.
We're just taking it day by day and minute by minute.
According to the Utah Department of Public Safety, there have been 312 crashes this year involving cars and bicycles, resulting in 279 bicyclist injuries and 12 fatalities. Castillo's road to recovery is unknown at this time.
We're all just coming together and realizing the seriousness of the situation, but also the little victories that Antoinette has in there, celebrating them, and just not letting it get to us. We're not losing faith because we know she can feel that positivity in there.
Keisha Malin is another friend, and she's also the stepmom to Castillo's 2 young kids.
The 4-year-old has asked a couple times where she's been, and how do you explain that to him? And our oldest is old enough to understand, but yet be delicate because it is a very serious situation.
When you're around her, you're happy, you're upbeat. She's so giving and she's so kind, and she would do anything for you.
Casey Metz is a friend. She says sadly Castillo doesn't have health insurance and has started a GoFundMe. In Ogden, Cade Garner, ABC4 News.
Still ahead, thousands of people are still without clean water in Jackson, Mississippi. Find out what you can do to help.